Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to top 10 best very small towns in America. And I've done reactions to certain types of towns before. I think the least populated towns, also like I think the most, I just get ghost towns and stuff. And then I guess towns the furthest away from everything else, the most remote towns. I'm saying all the same things, just in different variations. But yeah, different town videos. I guess like the scariest towns I've done too. I've done loads of different ones, but I've never done one focus on the best towns. So here we are now. Towns I feel like in the US are getting hit harder. Like it's just a lot, unless it's like a well-off town where we're gonna see here. They seem to be again turning into ghost towns or just struggling a lot more because the cities are where a lot of people end up moving to because it's just higher chances for jobs and all these kinds of things. But it'll be good to see some towns that are doing well, and yeah, we're going to check this out. Hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions. And let's jump into this.
Everyone, it's time for another list. Today I thought we would go small, really small. We're going to take a look at 10 of the best, very small towns with a population of under 1,000.
Oh, they're very small then. I hope some of these, right, have... like, they have the towns right, but I hope they're in, like, really nice locations because the possibilities for towns in some incredible locations are there. Like, yeah, just this kind of scenery. I don't know if it'd be possible to have a town here specifically, but just this kind of scenery. You have so many possibilities for the US, but I guess we'll see.
The real America. This is where you find the roots and the history of this great country, on the back roads and the blue highways. Now, there's no real way statistically or with reports to figure out which one goes where and which are the best. A few I've been to, a few I've read about, and a few I know people that are from that town, or at least from the area. So here's my top 10 best really small towns in America. Number 10. Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Thomas Jefferson visited Harpers Ferry in 1783 and said it to...
Damn! See, what I find fascinating, right, is in small towns in the US, you get some like relatively high buildings, like a couple floors. Like in the UK, you get a town under 1,000 people. I don't think you're getting. I might be waffling here, but I don't think you're gonna get like buildings that are like relatively big. This is really like small, like close together as well. Like it's 1,000 people or under, but it's a lot closer as well. It's not spread out. I thought there'd be a lot more spread out, especially because it's in the US.
Be perhaps one of the most stupendous scenes in nature. Other than the fact the word stupendous has always sounded made up to me, this West Virginia town is surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains and is where the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers meet. It has such natural beauty that most of the town is now part of the National Park Service.
Wow.
This place is breathtaking. They only have about 300 residents, all of which have seemed to have avoided the overuse of painkillers. Good job, Harpers Ferry.
Doing bits there then.
Number 9. Wallace, Idaho. Wallace is a small town in the Panhandle section of Idaho. They hold the distinction of being the only city in Idaho to vote for Hillary Clinton in the last election. I'm totally kidding. I looked up the voting stats, and from what I gather, it may actually be
Look at the view, man. Wow.
Illegal to vote Democrat in this town, which is fine. Wallace was founded in 1884 and hasn't gotten much bigger since then.
Imagine this being your view every single day. That is ridiculous.
And that's what makes this place beautiful. They only have about 750 residents, and...
So this is the town. This is a town with 750 people. I'm sorry, but this town, if you just went through here, right, it would look... I would just assume it's way more than just 700 people or whatever. It looks a lot bigger than that. For a town this small, it's a lot. It looks a lot more like, I don't know, just like a bigger town is what I'm trying to say. But obviously it's not. I guess it's just a very thin town maybe, because the buildings look relatively big as well.
From what I've experienced, they all seem to be very kind and down-to-earth people. What makes this place even more amazing is the scenery around Wallace. It's the type of landscape that makes you want to go sit up on a hillside and just watch the world for a bit. If you do go to Wallace...
This is one of the most beautiful backdrops to a city I've ever seen. Oh, sorry, to a town or city or whatever that I've ever seen.
Try the City Limits pub. Tell them Big Jim and the Twins sent you. Just kidding, don't tell them that. That's just something I told the bartender when I was drunk there like 2 years ago.
This guy's been everywhere. Fair enough.
Number 8. Makanda, Illinois. Makanda is a town in Jackson County, Illinois. This one is actually considered a village, but we're going to call it a town. The community of Makanda began with the building of a boarding house and construction camp for the Illinois Central Railroad back in the day. And
This town is tiny.
all know what happens when a small town has a train going through it. That's right, a hobo problem. One time they had this hobo making his way through town. The sheriff tried to usher him out of town. Well, it turns out the hobo was a Vietnam vet and didn't take kindly to this, so he beat up a bunch of the sheriffs, stole a motorcycle, went into the woods, and at some point
This town is tiny. How is this considered a town? I've been seeing like 5 homes or something, barely any.
got a hold of a rocket launcher. Wait, forget that. That never happened. That was actually, I think, the plot of the first Rambo movie. But anyway,
Oh, there we go.
they did have big crowds during last summer's eclipse, which that was kind of cool. And this place was like dead center for the eclipse. If you weren't in Oregon,
Damn, this is a spread out town. Like the previous one we saw was all close together. This one's spread out into the woods and stuff.
and this was one of the places right along the line. It started in Oregon in the United States and went down through Illinois and a bunch of it was really cool. The town has a population of about 550 people, and they have several weird festivals every year, including one that celebrates turkey vultures. Turkey
enough.
vultures. But hey, it's a really nice town. Number 7. Bell Buckle, Tennessee. Bell Buckle is a town in Bedford County, Tennessee. Bell Buckle downtown is listed in the National Register as a historic location. The town was settled in the early 1800s and became incorporated in 1850, due in part to becoming a rail hub between Chattanooga and Nashville. Since this place has been around a while, it has some historic things here. There's actually even a bandstand in the middle of town, so you can go there and play music, like some 1950s musical. This place is an antique lover's heaven, and everyone loves to watch the train roll by, like, they've got to have something else to do, but this seems to be something that people like to sit and watch. Not into trains, but I know there are some of you out there that love trains. This may be the place for you. Oh, and they have a moon pie and RC Cola festival. I didn't even know RC Cola was around anymore. That's cool. Don't bring your kids. There's too many antiques. They get in the way.
Didn't really show the town though.
But it's definitely a place to visit. And I love kids. Just don't bring them. They're going to break some shit.
It just showed like the market area or whatever.
Number 6. Union, Connecticut.
We're going all around the US. I like that. It's a very diverse video. By diverse, I mean it's spread around the whole country.
Union is a town of just under 700 residents, and a few ghostly ones too. That's according to legend. The town's graveyard is supposedly haunted by a number of spirits that draws a modest amount of ghost tourism.
Damn.
Union is also home of Traveler Food and Books, a restaurant that gives patrons free books with their meals. With over 40,000 acres of forest land in and around the town, and a major interstate going through it, Union is known for outdoor recreation. Things like hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, and apparently fornicating in the woods. That last one is some information I got from a guy that grew up in the area. He said that's what you did during the summer. I'm going camping with my friends. And then some girl would say, I'm going camping with my friends. And they'd all go camping because everyone does this around here. Then you end up having sex in the woods just outside of Union, Connecticut. Good times.
Fuck.
Moving on.
Is that why this town's so good? What the fuck?
Number 5. Cottonwood Falls, Kansas. Cottonwood Falls is the largest city in Chase County, Kansas. As of the 2010 census, the city's population was only 903 people. Now that's the largest city in Chase County. I guess not many people want to live in Chase County. I wouldn't mind. I like it, mainly because Comcast isn't in Chase County, and that's a good thing. Now, not a lot of people associate the prairie or grassland with nature hikes or nature for that matter. Most of us see it as a place you farm. Oh, you're right, but you're also a little bit wrong. The prairie and grasslands are naturally beautiful. Now check out Chase State Fishing Lake if you go there. This place is beautiful. Creeks that are just trickling into the lake, geese, ducks, whatever. This town is what we thought this whole country was going to be after World War II. This place is straight out of the Andy Griffith Show. This is the Google Street View from the courthouse down Broadway, which is the main commercial street in Cottonwood Falls. Now here's the other direction, and that's the courthouse. America.
America.
Number 4. Augusta, Montana. With under 400 year-round residents, Augusta is almost like stepping back into the Old West.
Look at the scenery again, wow.
Known as the last original cow town in the West, this is a tiny community full of farmers, ranchers, nature types, friendly people, and a few city slickers that nobody likes. Well, I don't really know if that's true, but it sounds like it should be. This is like an Old West town with cars. If you like a town with that whole Western flavor, try Augusta. In Augusta, you have access to 1 million acres of unspoiled, rugged, high country land. There are 10 lakes ranging from 6 to 25 miles away from town. Great fishing streams. I did notice in the news of Augusta that they had a lot of hunting and fishing related crimes, and a strange number of men named Clem for some reason. Clem. That's a weird name. Clem. Clem. Moving on.
What the fuck is...
Number 3. Phenicia, New York. Phenicia is a town in Ulster County, New York, with only about 300 residents. Now, when you go to Phenicia, which is spelt with a PH, not an F, you will think that they have closer to 1,000 with the amount of tourists they get year-round. A creek runs through the south end of town and is thick with rainbow trout. And during the summer, it's thick with drunk college people tubing down the creek. Now, this is what's really cool. The library in Phenicia, this isn't really cool, but it ends up kind of cool. The library in Phenicia burned down. And suddenly there were books everywhere. Not from the fire, but from boxes and boxes of donations to replace what was lost. Residents can now check out books again in their temporary library. And they can also check out fishing poles from the library and use it in the creek. I think that's really neat. That is like the best in small town America right there.
Wow.
Number 2. Cedar Key.
Oh, we got one in Florida, okay.
Florida. Cedar Key is a city in Levy County, Florida. The population was 702 in the 2010 census. Not a lot of people there. The Cedar Keys are a cluster of islands near the mainland. It's north of Tampa, unlike all the other keys in Florida, which kind of makes it kind of a cool place. This place is really underdeveloped for what it is. Despite its prime location on the Gulf of Mexico, Cedar Key has escaped developers. It doesn't really have enough beach to attract any kind of resort type thing. And I get the feeling that type of thing will never happen. It feels like an old fishing village from some Humphrey Bogart movie back in the 50s. People always say Cedar Key is like Key West was 30 years ago. What I like here is the lack of commercial property in the Keys. It's mostly people just living their life. And it's a far stretch from a tourist location. It's more like a unique place to live. Now, I've been here. I ended up there by mistake. I was dating a girl from Bronson, Florida, which is down the road from there. I drove down from Fort Benning to meet her family. Yes, she was that hot. I drove from Fort Benning to the middle of Florida to meet a girl's parents. And when I got down there, I turned right instead of left on the 24 and ended up in Cedar instead of Bronson. I called her, she said that her parents were being dicks and told me, I'm coming to you. And we spent the weekend there, and it was really nice. I think it was nicer for me because we didn't talk much after that and quit returning my phone calls. Maybe I'm not as magical as I thought I was. I don't know. She was a nice girl, though. She was really hot.
Bro, I don't care, man.
Really good-looking girl.
What the fuck? Jesus.
And number 1, Leapers Fork, Tennessee. Leapers Fork is a rural town in Williamson County, Tennessee, and it has a population of about 650 people. This place ain't big, but it is big in history. It's along the old Natchez Trace, which is...
It looks a bit, like, scary in this scenery.
It's a trail used by Native Americans and settlers that traveled from Tennessee to Natchez, Mississippi, which is right near the border of Louisiana. Well, not right near, but it's close to. Now, Leapers Fork sprung up as one of the trading posts along the trace. It's also the trail that Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark expedition died in 1809.
Bro, imagine living there. You're literally on your own. You're like, it looks like you're miles from anyone.
Leapers Fork was also big in the moonshining history as well, and they still have a distillery located there today. Now, I learned about this place from a high school friend that watches my videos. She's lived just outside of Leapers Fork for about 20 years now. She says she will never leave. She says the people are great, it's wonderful, she loves the place. She also says that she has to keep the fact she's from Los Angeles secret, or some of the older locals, they treat her like she's some sort of sexual deviant drug user. Because, of course, if you're older than 60 and live in middle America, you think all of California is a big coke-snorting orgy. Her words, not mine. If you like small towns and hate coke-snorting orgies, this little Tennessee village may be the place for you. If you do go there, go to Puckett's Grocery. So it's a restaurant as well as a grocery store, and it has a roadside gas station. When I say roadside, it is like a bus stop in most cities are. The bus just kind of pulls off the road, you get on. The gas pumps, look right here. See? You just kind of drift over a little bit if you're at the gas pump. Now this place, Puckett's, is...
What the hell? That's how they are. I've never seen gas stations like this, or petrol stations like this in my life. It's just on the side of the road.
It's really nice. Has musicians. On nice summer nights, they actually go outdoors there and they play music and open mic stuff. It's really neat. This is a really, really cool community. That's why it's number one on this list. The history, the people, it's amazing. I'm going to visit there sometime soon, probably next year. If you're in the area, give it a try. Take a look.
Well, there we go. He spoke about stuff I don't care about, but you know what? It's cool to see these towns. My favourite one for sure is... Bro, this place looks incredible. This, for me, was definitely the number one. It looked like the actual high street looked the best as well, or the main street as well looked the best. And that's the view you have. Wow. Crazy, man. But this is a little look into some of the best small towns in the US. Let me know if you're from one of these places or you've been to one of these places. And if it's as good as he seems to think they are. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, peace.